Hello, this is Just Look Up. I made this video here to show you guys one of these jellyfish UAPs and a bunch of other objects that look just like them. This isn't to debunk anything that Skywatcher or Jake Barber's doing. If anything, I would love to work with those guys. I have lots of footage, all kinds of stuff to show, but anyways, here we go. I'm just showing you this shot here because this shows you what to look for when seeing these things. There's a little spark right above the roof. You'll see a little flash if you can see it. But that's what these things look like when they're up in the sky. Usually they're way up there. And here's the jellyfish UAP doing its thing. You'll see it has these long, what they're calling tentacles. They're kind of like bags. These things, the best way I could explain them, the obvious is a lot of people say balloons. Yes, they're floating like balloons. They even have a cover over them, like a mylar covering that gives them that reflective cover. That's part of the reason why these things are so hard to focus on. That's why you see these blurred edges and stuff. But for me, they look like, if you've ever seen a little kid birthday party where they have those jump houses, the material looks just like that, you know. This thing changes shapes. The legs look like they go up into the body. At times it appears to have 3 legs. It might have another one up there, it might have 4. But this object is weird. You can see some different colors on it, like a pinkish orange and white, and then what appears to be red at the bottom of those hanging white things. And this thing was just cruising. It was right above my head, and it was probably there for over 10 minutes. I have another video too that's about 4 minutes long, but this one is the more clear one here. And I don't know, a lot of people will just right away say this is a balloon. But if you've watched the Skywatcher video, they say that these things are electrically charged or something, and that they're throwing off equipment and stuff like that, and they were jamming radar or jamming signals or something like that. And in the video it even shows that they're having problems flying with a helicopter, just trying to get close to these things. But you'll see I have a bunch of different videos here. I have an orb, just to show you what an orb looks like compared to these. And then I have a bunch of different types of these floating, flying objects here. They all look like balloons though, like scientific equipment maybe, hanging in those big white tails. Some of them look like hearts, and there's even a balloon that looks like a chicken. And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody's work when I say balloon. It's just it's a good way to describe it here. But this next one right here, this is an orb, also right above my house, and that's what they look like in the daytime right there. And that could be plasma, vapors, or something. I don't know, because I'm just observing these things. Here's another balloon type thing, and I've seen these same balloons tied into like the New Jersey drones and stuff. Like I've seen a picture of one of these tucked in a tree. So I don't know, but that donut balloon looked just like this right here. And Skywatcher has one of their categories is a crystal like entity, and I just think it's out of focus, because all of these things look crazy. Look at that, it looks like 2 other the categories that they had, but it's just one of these jellyfish type things. And I'm using a 1-foot scope on my my iPhone to get these. And this is my old tripod here. They're kind of shaky, so I apologize for that footage here. I got a heavier tripod now that I could that makes everything a little more stable, like in the jellyfish video. But either way, these things are so high up, it's like a grain of sand in the sky that you're trying to film, and you know, give it a try yourself and see how it comes out. So yeah, this is one of the ones that's shaped like a heart here, but you can't really tell. Here's another thing. This gives the appearance of a flying saucer here. And if you looked at that through the camera, you would say, oh man, that's a saucer. But this is another one of these things. And this one looked like a plastic trash bag. And I have another video of this where there's UAP flying all around this thing. But this thing just stayed up in the air. If it was a trash bag, what was keeping it up in the air, you know? This thing would fill up, and then it would let some out, and it was just doing weird stuff while I was floating in the air. But it looks kind of like those watercraft. I don't know if you've seen where they, like on a jet ski boat, they drag a big inflatable thing that people lay on, and they get in the air. That's what this thing looks like, but it's all white. And yeah, it looks just like a UFO if you were to see that. And I wish I would have got better footage of it, but this is where it was, you know, leaving. And I was just trying to get as much footage of it as I could, you know. But here's another one here. And it's shaped like a heart. You know, the first thing you would say is, like, wow, it's just a heart-shaped balloon, you know? And actually, I think this one is just a balloon. I just wanted to show for reference. But there's these red balloons that are a little redder than that. And, but the tail is the telltale sign that it's one of these, because the tail is probably, I don't know, maybe a foot thick. These things, this one right here looks like a regular balloon, but all these other ones, like the jellyfish and stuff, these things are big as a house. Like the size of a bus. So, you know, party balloon is kind of out of the question there. And here comes another one here. This is something different here. This one's shaped like a Lego man or something, you know. And this was orange with like a mauve color. And this thing again it's full of air. And it might have equipment in there. Like if these are alien, I'm thinking that it's like alien throwaway drones or something with the technology in them or something. They said these things were giving off vibrations and jamming signals, and I could totally see that, you know. And they don't look like they're made with, you know, expensively. They're just floating devices, you know. This one's cool here, and this is another one. It looks like pyramids and stuff in the sky, but when you look closer, they're square balloon type objects, and they give off a neat blue color, and there goes that big white antenna on the bottom, or whatever it is. But I mean, that from far away, this thing looks like a UFO or something, you know. All you see is a little glimmering light way up in the sky. And once again, sorry, I've gotten a different tripod since then. This thing was shaking. You barely touch it, and I got a heavier, weighted down tripod that works a lot better now. Here's another one here. This is the one that looks like a chicken. A certain angle, this thing looks like a hen or a rooster. Look at that. Same thing though, the big fat white bag hanging down from it. And I believe these are all the same kind of objects here. Maybe they have antennas in those bags. Maybe they're letting out UAP. I really don't know. I'm just guessing. But here's another one, and this one looks like a match way up in the sky that's on fire, but it's like 4 square balloons with rounded tops, and all of these are odd. If these are all the same thing, why go out of the way to make them all different shapes and sizes? Is that on purpose to confuse, or I got a lot of questions, but they're all odd. Here's another one. This one's my favorite because it's shaped like an L. But this was like one of the first ones that I captured where I was just like, what are these things, And this thing up close has got a hose going up the side, down to the bag. It stretches out like a serpent. And yeah, it looks like a party balloon. Someone just turned 7, but I've never seen party balloons as big as a house. And like a kid could hug that rope bag hanging from it, So these things they're huge. But this thing just displays like an odd behavior, just floating around the way it does. And you can see they got a shiny like mylar cover. Certain angles they look real matte finished. They're really weird. And it looks like it has bubbles on it right there. This is all raw footage. I try not to do anything unless I let you know in the video that I adjust the contrast or anything, but I didn't have to do any of that for these here. This one's neat. It had a bunch of different colors, and it had another bag or balloon at the bottom, and this one just looked neat. Had a bunch of different colors on it. And yeah, I'm just showing. I have even more of these, like so many of them that that I wasn't posting these because I don't know what they are. Am I gonna be posting a bunch of weather equipment on this channel? And yeah, there's that match one again. I might have put that in here twice, but yeah, these things are odd. And they're moving pretty quick. Like it's hard to keep on it, You see, I lose them pretty easily sometimes, but yeah, I don't know what these are. Yeah, anybody could say it looks like a balloon or a bunch of balloons. Yeah, that's the most obvious thing. That's it's the first thing I thought when I seen these until I zoomed in on them and seen that isn't a string, Here's another one. This one was crazy too. It was like a bunch of balloons tied together that look like pumpkins with the green tops on them. And what's the purpose, Like, what's the purpose for these things? Why so many of them? Couldn't one do the job? Why are all these out there, And it's funny because I don't know how to summons things, but if I do try, these things always pop out more than I can count, more times than I can count. I'm not saying I know how to summons things, but whenever I've tried my little thing that I try to do to get UAP out, these things come out. Sometimes I'll be looking at the sky and it'll come out right where I'm looking. That's happened more than once. It's nuts. Is this thing what are these? Here's another different kind right there. That looks like the chicken one again. Yeah, and this one right here, if I remember right, this one looked like a baby in space at certain times with holding on to balloons. Just weird, They're all weird colors. They're all reflective. There's another video that I couldn't find, but it looked like a bunch of balloons in a big bag, and they're moving under there, and it gives the appearance that the thing's just morphing, and it's a bunch of these balloons shoved in a bigger balloon bag or something. See, there's the one that looks like a bunch of pumpkins. Yeah, I don't know. I even have one of these shape-shifting ones that they talk about on sky watchers, and you'll see it's just another one of these that's not fully filled up, and it's might have something inside it that gives it a rigid shape, but you'll see right here it's the same thing as all these other ones. This is green, and out of focus it looks crazy like it's a crystal flying in the sky, but once I get it into focus you'll see it's got a round shape to it, and what gives it a weird look is the reflection. But it is like a mylar balloon. This one doesn't have a tail, and there's something in there that gives it a shape, and the wind or the pressure, there's a UAP flying around it too, you see that? There's pressure building up on that thing. These are way up in the sky. Like I said, it's like looking at a grain of sand with your naked eye. But this was a whole other category for this one right here. It was a shape-shifting, I forgot what they called it. But it's the same thing. These are all the same thing. I was more interested in the UAP right there. Look at that guy. He's just checking them out. He's probably asking the same thing I am. What is this? Is that a balloon? Is there equipment in there? Something, what's going on, you know? And like I said, this isn't to debunk Jake Barber. Those guys obviously know more than I do. I'm just a dude that does this for a hobby. I love pointing my camera at the sky and trying to capture whatever I can, just so I can see it. You know, like these, I was curious, what are those things? You know, at first I thought they were flying little pyramids, and when I looked at it close, I was a little disappointed to find out that a lot of them look like balloons or weather equipment. But, you know, here's another one of those heart ones. And, you know, first glance you would think, yeah, it's a heart balloon. At the very end of the video, there's what looks like a manta, what they classified as a manta, fall into the ground. And this was right by my house, on like a couple houses over. Probably fell in someone's backyard, I wonder, you know. But yeah, I just want to tell you guys, if you're not subscribed, to give a subscribe. I'm always posting videos, and just remember to always look up. And just be aware of what's going on, you know. But like I said, just look up.